Hey, good morning, YouTube. It's your boy, the Commissioner. Today, it's a little bit of a change of pace. Unfortunately, my car got taken to the shop the other day, so I'm not in my Jeep like I'd usually be doing these before work videos. So I definitely want to, give you an explanation as to why the scene looks a little different. The lighting's a lot better though, so I'm appreciative of that. I also wanted to say that congratulations are in order. I got my first subscriber and my first interaction, so I'm super hyped about that. I'm still waiting for my plaque to come in from YouTube, so we're gonna see how that goes. As the channel continues to grow, I hope to do a lot more interactive videos and other types of content, just to do a lot more engagement, because that's where my interest lies. So hopefully, as I continue to put out good content for you guys and the channel continues to grow, we could really start revving things up. But in the meantime, I want to definitely get into the topic of the hand. Today's topic is pretty much, man, Drake versus the dang world, man. Drake sues the world, you know. I actually have a copy of the court files that were filed on 1/15/25, and this is actually by way of courthousenews.com, so I'll definitely try to attach the link in the bio. Man, I mean, I made my way halfway through it. I think I've gone to like page 13 out of 81 pages. I'm not going to go through everything, so a few things I'm actually going to paraphrase and quote, just so you guys could kind of get an understanding on where my thought process lies when it comes to this particular lawsuit. This thing's revving up, man. Definitely nobody predicted that he would even go balls deep with this lawsuit against UMG. But as I'm reading, I'm finding it very hard to believe that he's... So the thing about the court system, from my interpretation, I don't really have a lot of experience with it. You have to prove without a shadow of a doubt what you're claiming has some validity to it. And depending on the compensation that you're trying to get, you can either put certain things on hold, you can become, compensated by monetary means. There's various ways that somebody can get some form of retribution if they feel like they've been harmed, or it's just up to your lawyers to prove that there was malicious intent involved. So in his initial proceedings, he was pretty much trying to state that, hey, UMG had some idea as to what Kendrick Lamar was dropping, and not only did they know, but they also artificially boosted, the record to be a lot bigger than what it actually was through ill-gotten means, payola, and other various methods that are deemed illegal on a federal standpoint. And you heard like words like a baby RICO or a RICO case that was placed against, UMG, because I think more along the lines it fell in the category of racketeering as opposed to like an organized criminal group. So that was a very interesting stance that Drake and his legal team took. But this time, these boys really stepped it up, man. They definitely stepped it up. So in the beginning portion of the introduction, they were pretty much stating that, Drake's home was terrorized after the Not Like Us video, not video, but the Not Like Us campaign was put out. If you make yourself down to, I want to say line 63 on this page 25, it definitely shows Drake's embassy home in Canada, and they were stating that those red dots that were used usually by by police forces to identify predators were actually marked on Drake's home. And because it was marked on Drake's home, some Kendrick fans or Kendrick affiliates drove up to Drake's house and opened fire, hitting one of his security guards in the chest, and one bullet actually penetrated Drake's home. So he's pretty much stating that because Kendrick put this anthem out, it was actually a call to arms, or a dog whistle, to put harm on Drake and his family and his friends. So much so that he even had to take his child Adonis out of school. I'm looking through this, and they're even trying to use his lyrics on that song as evidence that it was a call to arms. So it's pretty much saying, like, say Drake, I heard you like him young. The next line then thinly veiled a threat that Drake should be careful, that he should never end up in prison, a place where child P words are notoriously targets of violence. You better never go to cell block 1. And the record continues to say that any woman who falls in love with Drake should be careful to hide, in quotation, their little sis from him. And I'm looking through this, and I'm just like, bro, where are you getting all this from? And another point that I wanted to bring up, especially when it comes to this new suit, was that Drake's actually pulling in anti-Semitic defense. He's saying that the quotation, or even the chorus, they not like us, they not like us, they not like us, was an actual slur to his Jewish heritage. And I'm like, whoa, like, how are you gonna prove this, man? Like, how are you, like, in my opinion, I'm not a lawyer, but any lawyer or anybody with some form of logic can tear that apart and say that, how do you, like, that is such a broad stroke statement that has no kind of ties to your multiracial background, you know? And not only multiracial, but your ethnic background, you know, like your cultural background. Like, dude, this could have been about your Canadian upbringing. You're not American, so you're definitely not like us. He could be speaking on behalf of his multiracial fan base, some being white, some being black, some being Mexican, and, you know, yeah, you're half black, and, you know, you're half, you know, of European descent. So he could be saying, well, from that part, he's not like us. Like, there's so many different stances that you can take just to defend yourself against that particular claim, that it almost seems, I mean, for lack of a better term, frivolous. I mean, they even said that furthering the record recordings refrain that Drake's not like us recording alludes to Drake's Jewish heritage, saying that Drake is not a colleague but a blank colonizer. Bro, how? Colonizing is an act. Colonizing isn't a noun. I mean, it's an act, it's a verb. You know, if you're a colonizer, you're a person that colonizes something. It's not race-based. It's not ethnic-based. It's not based on any form of creed. It's based on one person, one thing, performing a particular action. What are you trying to get to, man? You know, it's crazy, you know. But on my last video, or in one of my prior videos, I stated that, you know what, as the Super Bowl comes closer and closer and closer, he is throwing spaghetti at the wall, and he is hoping, or at least his legal team is hoping, that something sticks. A lot of people think, oh, you know, he's just calling BS. No, a majority, in my opinion, I think that he's casting a wide net. He's casting a wide net, and he just wants one thing to stick. If he's able to make one thing sticks, and this advances higher up the judicial chain, and he allows something to be put on hold pending an investigation, it's a W for him. And it's a W for him until the Super Bowl happens. You know, I mean, some of the people that he's alluded to being involved into this whole conspiracy against them, or this action against them, was YouTubers. YouTube as well. You know, the defendant this is number 86. Defendant's initial publication of the video on YouTube has been viewed more than 206 million times. As of date, the UMG original publication and the video remains available for aforementioned platforms. I mean, he goes in, and I was literally, honest to God, looking for the line that insinuated that YouTube indirectly started paying YouTubers, and I want to say it starts from line 96 going on down, that because Kendrick lifted the copyright for that short amount of time that he did, it was kind of like an indirect way of paying YouTubers to favorably market the song that, in their words, falsely accused Drake of being a P word. That part it's gray. It's gray enough for you to say, does he have something there? But it almost falls along the lines that, all right, unless there is some form of email that can support the corporate side of UMG stating like, hey, in order for this song to go forward and to slander Drake more, and mind you, the email doesn't have to say that verbatim, but as long as they could prove that, hey, there was some communication in the back saying that, hey, we're doing this to make sure this happens, it's kind of hard to prove, because this could be seen as a part of the strategy that it would, because from a strategic standpoint, Kendrick and his team, for them to do that was sheer genius, because that's how I know that they understood the landscape of the battlefield. Drake was using the old tactics that he used against Meek Mill to this new battlefield, which is night and day. You can't use Vietnam rules when we're fighting in the age of drones and digital era. It just doesn't mix. Your moves are they're barbaric. They've been seen before, and you're ill-equipped. You're not ready, and it showed during the beef, because Kendrick, for lack of a better term, was always ahead in every single way. So for you to start casting this wide net, this feels as if you're pulling for straws, because what you really want to happen is that you want this to hit the federal courts, just so when the investigation happens, you will be able to put a pause on the performance. I believe that's what the plan is. And if you don't put a pause on the performance, you going after Spotify, you going after YouTube, and you going after YouTubers, one of those groups, if this actually gets to that level, might have a legal strangle put on them. You know, because at the end of the day, if you go against the YouTubers, and I know somewhere in this article, it actually labels a few of the YouTubers in here. I'm flipping through as I'm talking to you guys. It actually labels some of the YouTubers by name in there. And mind you, these guys aren't big enough and aren't strong enough to go against Drake. They don't have the resources to defend themselves properly against Drake. So some of these more influential YouTubers aren't going to want to risk their channel being jeopardized by Drake or his legal team. And if you somehow suppress the bigger dogs, the smaller dogs might not be so emboldened to react to the Super Bowl if this song starts to become promoted. But that is a tall task that you and your team have ahead of you, if you think that's going to be enough to stop people. And mind you, I believe that the internet or if not, YouTube might crash that day, Twitch might crash that day, with everybody wanting to react. This is, now that I'm thinking about it, this might be a generational beating that you and your team foresees that you're trying your damnedest to stop. And by all means, you have the right to do it. You know, I can see why you would be doing something like this. This is like, my brain is like, it's just shooting off, because this is kind of unreal. You know what I'm saying? Like, this kind of celebrity pop star execution, I'm trying to rack my brain. I don't think we've been here before, if it gets that far. You know, we're in the digital era where everybody has access to a cell phone. Everybody has access to an iPad. Everybody has access to some form of, even in their cars, there's Wi-Fi for you to watch videos. You know, like, everybody has access to the internet, and the world will be watching. What are you gonna? This is their attempt to do something about it. Yeah. So if he has to sue the entire world into silence, which, man, I don't think you got it, bro. Like, I see what you're doing. I get it. I to some sort, you got to protect your reputation, because your stock is going to plummet if Kendrick goes to that summit. There's no way around it. And the thing about it, him being silent and him focusing, because mind you, his silence isn't because he doesn't want to say anything. I mean, of course he doesn't want to say anything, but you know he's rehearsing, you know he's performing, you know he's coming up with contingency plans just in case they stop him from rapping the lyrics at the Super Bowl. But who's to say he doesn't play the instrumental and have the fans sing it? The song has been out long enough. Like, who's to say that he doesn't play some rendition or a remix version of it? You know, a newer beat, same, maybe touch and go with the lyrics, enough for him to get him in hot water, but not enough to burn him. Enough for him to, all right, I'll see you in court and I'll pay the fines, but not enough for him to not get the message across. Like, how do you combat that? Because as much as you know what's at stake, I'm pretty sure him and his team know what's at stake as well. And because the parent group UMG isn't siding with you anymore, who's to say that they're not indirectly gonna push him to do it? You know, hey, don't even worry about it. Do what you gotta do. We'll take care of it from here. You got small fees, we'll get you paid. Pay it up front, we'll get you on the back end. I mean, I'm gonna read through this more, and I want to say that I'll start to pick apart certain things. But for the most part, I actually just wanted to get a video out there because I'm really looking forward to interacting about this. And oh man, this is looking good. This is getting interesting. Woo! Well, you know, thank you for sticking with me this long. And shout out to my subscriber, and shout out, you know, hopefully, you know, we talk about this a little bit more, and, you know, rate, give me a thumbs up if you liked it, you know, comment, please subscribe, you know, as the channel continues to grow. And yeah, man, see you next time. You know, Commissioner out.